What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/stories about Kevin. Alright, this story's called Kevin and I Make a Movie, the prequel. Like the title suggests, this is sort of a prequel to a post I made on here about a year ago about how a different Kevin and I made a short film that was entered into a multi-district-wide contest in my senior year of high school. In that post, it explains what type of high school I went to and why I made short films during this time, or that time. In this story, I shall tell you the tale of how Kevin 1.0 almost got me arrested. To preface this story takes place my junior year of high school, a year before my other story. Making an extremely long prelude short, Kevin and I went to the same high school the year prior, sophomore year, and had a few classes together, so I was already well acquainted with him. Kevin was actually a nice fellow, but it was at the point where it was kind of obnoxious at times. Like, if you were to punch him in the face for no reason, he would apologize to you. In any case, this was the second or third short film we were assigned to make from our teacher. It was supposed to be a feel-good movie, which for me felt the opposite while filming. Every other person in the class already had their little niches, so they formed teams before starting, leaving me stuck with Kevin, a cool guy who I'll call Jonah, relates to the story, and some other guy who doesn't matter because he didn't do anything. Kevin already had an idea mapped out in his head and started writing a script. I went along with it because I didn't have an idea for a feel-good film. I never read the script, but Kevin told me how each scene will play out as we were filming them. I will break down each idiotic idea that Kevin executed in 3 sagas leading to my almost arrest. Part 1. Nice boat. Kevin wanted to film a boat scene inside a small fishing boat. I told him, hey, I don't think it's a good idea to take the school's $1,200 camera on a boat. He ignored me and said, if we all put in some money, maybe we can have enough to rent a boat. Before I could tell him that I wasn't giving him money, he already started calling the lake? I don't know who he called, but I had to essentially tattletale on him to the teacher to get him to back down from the boat idea. Part 2. Would you like some popcorn? This scene, Kevin's dad drove us to my old, Kevin's current at the time, high school. It was during lunchtime and we filmed a scene in the cafeteria with dozens of people around. In the cafeteria, there was a random mom from the Parent-Teachers Association selling popcorn for $1. Kevin walked up to her and asked her to be an important character in our film. For some reason, she agreed and actually later showed up at random places around the city to film certain scenes. Cool mom. Part 3. The finale. For context, there's a small graveyard in front of our school that I now know belongs to a family unrelated to the school. In passing conversation, Kevin heard the principal say that she sees kids film around the graveyard all the time. In his head, he heard around as in. Kevin asked me to ask a random medical teacher at my school to be a priest for a funeral scene in the graveyard. I asked Kevin if we were allowed to film in the graveyard. He told me yes, he got permission, which I assumed was from the school. I reluctantly agreed and asked this teacher. The teacher asked me, do you have permission to access the graveyard? I told him that Kevin said he did. He agreed. A few hours after school, I asked my mom to drop me off back at school to do the scene. She drove me and I saw 2 guys in front of the gate of the graveyard and one of them was shirtless for some reason. They left and after an hour, everyone who needed to get there got there. Also, for some reason, the OG Kevin from my first story was there too, for no reason. He was just hanging out. We all hopped the short fence to get in the graveyard and film the scene with Jonah, the PTA mom, and the medical teacher with yours truly as the cameraman. As soon as we finished, the shirtless guy came back and started yelling at us. You guys can't be here! This is private property! I look at Kevin and tell him, you handle this. Kevin and the Shirtless start talking. Kevin and the Shirtless, that's a cool band name. After I put the camera and tripod back into my mom's car, the medical teacher came up to me and said in a stern tone, listen, don't you ever lie to me again. Before I could say anything, he stormed off. The shirtless guy had his phone out, ready to call the cops, and a radio in his other hand talking to someone else, who I assume was the other guy he was with before. Then the shirtless guy said, it's fine, y'all just hurry it up. I was already in my mom's car and told her to start driving away. The next day, I went into class and my teacher gave the whole, "Afternoon class, your projects are due, blah blah blah. And everyone involved in the graveyard incident, stay here so I can talk to you." He chewed us out, saying we lied to Mr. Medical Teacher. He would have been arrested for criminal trespassing, and if something like this happens again, we are getting dropped from the class. Also, just that I needed to go to Mr. Medical Teacher, I'm just calling him Med Teacher, and apologize for lying. I immediately interrupted my teacher and told him that I never lied to anyone, and that Kevin is the one who lied and needed to apologize to him. He sent us both anyway. In front of Mr. Med Teacher and Kevin, I told him that the only thing I am apologizing for is not checking if the information I had was correct, and that Kevin was the one who lied to me, and thus you, about the graveyard. Kevin apologized for lying. The medical teacher was okay with me for the misunderstanding. I don't know what was the situation between him and Kevin. Walking out of class, I told Kevin to his face, "I am never working with you again, and you can finish your stupid movie yourself." That was it for me. I just messed around the computer lab and looked up on other teams' films while Kevin made his. He finished his film and that was that. I worked with new people and life went on. I won't talk about what the film was about unless someone is interested in what happened in the short. It's pretty dumb if I remember right. Is the film online? Yes, it is, but A, I don't know if it goes against any rules here to share a link to it, and B, it's gonna be really hard for me to find. Unless you really want to see it, I'll try to find it. Damn. First of all, that sounds really cool. Like that whole film making class or whatever. I'm assuming that's what it was. That's badass. I don't know what else to say. It's a funny story. Very TV-esque. Alright, this story's called Kevin Doesn't Understand Quarantine. Alright, let me explain it to y'all. So, the word quarantine comes from the time of the Black Death, specifically in Florence, where it was hitting hard. So, what they started to do to help stop the spread of the disease was, new ships docking at Florence, they had to stay docked for 40 days before anyone could come out of the ship. And, I mean, it worked. People on the ships, if there was someone sick, they most likely died, and they definitely did. And also, like, they would just, like, board everyone's, like, every sick person, they would just, like, board them in their house, along with any healthy people in there, and they would most likely die too. But it definitely stopped the illness from spreading. Anyway, now that you guys understand quarantine, let's get it started. This happened very recently, and the story is still developing. I have a friend who always does things that make me question his intelligence, and I call him Dingus for it, but he usually has enough common sense to not be deemed a Kevin. But this, I'll let you guys make the judgment. This happened this past Saturday. Even during the pandemic, Kevin, myself, and a third friend, who I'll call Bud, hung out for a few hours each Saturday. Our routine is that we eat at a restaurant, then hang out at Bud's place to watch tokusatsu shows like Kamen Rider, I don't know. For those unfamiliar, tokusatsu is a genre with shows and films that Power Rangers and Godzilla are a part of. Fun fact, Power Rangers are very 100% based off of Japanese Spider-Man from the 70s. Alright? Watch that show and there's nothing like it prior to it, and then after it blew up and got super famous and successful in Japan, that's when things like Power Rangers started becoming popular. So, Spider-Man walked so Power Rangers could run. Didn't expect that, did ya? Anyway, we asked if he wanted to eat out again, and he was up for it. We met up at a restaurant, and it looked like everything was fine with Kevin. Then he mentioned he was feeling tired. He didn't say much else then, so I cautiously was worried about him. After eating, we went to Bud's place and hung out there. That was when he casually dropped a bomb test. He took a Brovid test the other day, but hasn't gotten the results then. I couldn't really do much without being a complete jerk. Bud doesn't fear Brovid, seeing it as just something equivalent to the flu. The statistics of deaths to cases are similar enough by ratio, only real difference is the lack of a widespread vaccine at this time. After that, he left. Also, just FYI, Brovid is more dangerous because it's so unpredictable. Like, you don't know how it's gonna affect you. Then came Monday. I'm not really feeling ill or anything at this time, even as I type this. Anyway, I am in complete calm panic mode, making so many calls about canceling things. I work at a grocery store on top of being deemed special needs, so I had to call in sick with work, my job coach, and another organization that helps people who are like me live independently. Then, that evening, I texted Kevin and Bud to check on them. Kevin said his test finally came in, and he was positive for Brovid. That got me like 20 more phone calls again. Update work and everyone I spoke with earlier, notify my parents, my landlord, and the rest of my friends, Bud included, and to see if I can get tested myself. After all that, I spoke with my only female friend, calling her Nyanya. Nyanya? Oh, Nyanya. Since she loves cats, who drops another bombshell on me. If you ever go have a Brovid test, you are told to isolate yourself until you get the results at least. That, and you get this paper that tells you what to do afterwards. That info is what I learned from Nyanya, who did a Brovid test herself. To say Nyanya was dumbfounded and angry is an understatement. I then called Kevin, and he confirmed that he was told by the State Department to do that very same thing, and that paper was sent to him via email. Before this, I decided to sick Nyanya on him to chew him out. She's more effective than me with getting the point across to people. Any regrets I had vanished once he confirmed that he was told. Between Nyanya and myself, who is likely the more passive of the two, I think we got the message across to Kevin, hopefully. Regardless, I'm aware I had some Kevin moments there myself, but I tried to be cautious wherever I go. I didn't learn about things until it was already too late, nor really knew what to do. Worst part is, I have to wait for a full week until I can get tested myself, as I don't have symptoms at this time. Have to stay home doing nothing. The important life lesson to take from this: never underestimate a Kevin. We'll do updates when they happen. Oh my gosh, it's crazy how like other people's stupidity can like put so many other people's lives in danger. It's ridiculous. Ugh, it's like driving drunk. But it's not even like your decision making is impaired. You're just stupid. Alright, this story's called Caregiver Kevin. My partner has cerebral palsy. It's severe enough to where he cannot use his hands to do daily tasks, and as such, he relies on caregivers to help him eat and get dressed. Due to Brovid-19, he lost 2 caregivers. Oh my god. Although thankfully not due to anyone, oh my god, getting sick, and has been relying heavily on one in particular. So he was trying to get at least one more on board, which didn't go very smoothly. Caregiver Kevin was a middle-aged guy who supposedly had experience in the type of caregiving my partner needs. Basically cooking, cleaning, feeding, and dressing. Evidently, he was lacking in 2 of these areas. These incidents took place on the same night and left my partner and I furious. My partner ordered Indian food. He's way into chicken tikka masala and coconut naan. Coconut naan is much different from regular naan. It's a dessert and basically tastes like a candy bar with bread instead of a chocolate coating. The texture is weird as a result as well, and the raisins don't help. This particular night, my partner also got kheer, which is an Indian rice pudding, and the restaurant also gives rice with every meal. Kevin, in his infinite wisdom, has apparently never eaten Indian food, so instead of asking my partner how he likes it served, simply mixed the rice with the tikka masala and the sweet coconut naan and the rice pudding. After some somewhat forceful prodding and explanation, Kevin threw away the completely inedible concoction while talking about how we were wrong and Indian food always gets mixed together. Again, he apparently has never eaten Indian food and is in his late 40s, too. So after telling him my partner needed the new meal, he went to the fridge and grabbed the meal that he prepared for the following day. All caregivers cook a meal or 2 ahead. My partner takes 1 bite and starts coughing and gagging. When his throat clears, he starts screaming, "What the hell? No! No! What the hell did you do?" he never talks like this to caregivers. Even when one caregiver basically dropped him on his head, he didn't get that mad. Something is seriously wrong. The meal is basically stir fry with bell peppers, onion, and mushrooms with some pasta and chicken. Not even mixed together, just kept separately on the plate. As I'm trying to piece together what's going on, my partner vomits all over the floor. I rush to the bathroom and give him a bucket while Kevin just stays in his chair, completely frozen. While my partner is basically sobbing in the bathroom and dry heaving, I ask Kevin what he did to the food.
Well, I know it was said he doesn't like spicy food, but I do, so I decided to make his food spicier because it's always better that way.
Dead silence. My partner cannot physically handle anything spicier than very mild chicken tikka masala. A single jalapeno mixed in a taco could give him killer heartburn for several hours and can make him nauseous. Cranberry juice gives him heartburn too. There's a reason spicy food is banned from being made for him and why his meals tend to be a bit bland for some people's tastes. How spicy, Kevin?
Well, since stir fry should be a bit spicy, I saw the 2 red peppers in the fridge, so I figured, what the heck? It's not like anyone can't handle a bit of heat. And I saw some hot sauce in the cabinet, so I figured it would go great with the pasta and the stir fry.
I apparently turned so white that I looked just as sick as my partner. So you're telling me that for a single meal, you used 2 habanero peppers and a giant serving of ghost pepper sauce, both of which are labeled with my name on shelves labeled for my use only, and after being told quite clearly not to make anything spicy?
Well, he ordered Indian food, so I figured it would be okay. It's not his fault for not wanting to mix the Indian food properly.
Again, he apparently has never eaten Indian food. That sounds like a disaster. But honestly, I see Kevin's reasoning. Food should be spicy, and if you can't handle it, well, sucks. I'm joking, guys. I know someone's gonna freaking call for my head. Alright, this story's called Kevin and the Flat Tire. So, I didn't realize one of my friends was a Kevin until recently. Me and 3 of my friends decided to drive to Chick-fil-A. Yum! Where we live, the nearest Chick-fil-A is about an hour away. Yikes! So, I drive into the highway. 25 minutes into the drive, ice that I try to drive about pops the side of my tire and it's off the rim. Oh my god. I pull over immediately and text my mom to tell her I'm calling AAA. The 4 of us are talking and Kevin says to me,
"So are we gonna go to the next exit and turn around?"
I had never been more speechless in my life. Yes, Kevin, I was planning on dragging my front tire all the way back home. Let me know if the sparks from the metal scraping the ground get too hot for you. Damn. You know what? It's worth it though. Chick-fil-A, it's good. You know, you might not even want it and then you take a bite, then like you fulfill a desire you didn't even know you had. That's just how it works, man. Every single time, never fails. It hits, it scratches an itch you don't know you have. Unless you know you have the itch and then like it scratches it and it scratches it very well. I love Chick-fil-A in case you can't tell. Their spicy Chick-fil-A sandwich, man. I just can't. Nothing compares. I mean, Popeyes is good, but like it's a completely different sandwich. 2 different approaches. Chick-fil-A is simple enough to like not get sick of it, but Popeyes, you know, you get the spicy mayo on it, and the pickles are really good. But, you know, there's a little too much going on there for my taste. Chick-fil-A just does it perfect. Try it and true, baby. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.